Raider Nation, what's going on? Let's talk about the subject at hand, and it's about Kirk Cousins. Let's go ahead and get into business on this subject. Kirk Cousins is officially a Las Vegas Raider. We know Clint Kubiak said he wanted to have a veteran quarterback added to the Raiders, and he is officially on the team. So right now, the QB room is AOC, Aiden O'Connell, and Kirk Cousins, and it's going to be Fernando Mendoza. We know the number one pick, right? But I'm going to let you guys know. But first and foremost, go ahead and click that follow. Appreciate you guys in advance. But let's go ahead and talk about this situation. I'll let you guys know my opinion on what I feel should happen, and I'll let you guys know my opinion on what I think is going to happen, right? So I talked to my boy about this, and we spoke about it. He's like, man, and I read a lot of different comments. A lot of different things. My boy's like, man, Kirk Cousins going to start. I mean, he got a 5-year deal, but pretty much it's only 2 years. It's very, very team-friendly. It's not costing Raiders pretty much anything. I went into the details. I was like, man, that's a lot. But it's very, very team-friendly. But the thing is, when you look at it, me personally, I'm for bringing Mendoza in. Go ahead and let's go ahead and work on the future right now. That's what I want. Do I think that's going to happen? I'm not 100% sure yet. I haven't really processed this and thought about it. But what I think is going to happen is Kirk Cousins is going to come in there, maybe start. It's not going to work out. Because you already know, as Raider fans, if Kirk Cousins comes in there and Game 3 comes by and he's not winning and not doing good, Raider Nation is going to be like, Fernando, right? Because we draft this guy. You got the number one pick. So, for instance, Aiden, if you let him go and you bring Kirk Cousins and you let him start and 6-7 games go, and then he gets hurt, injured, or is not doing good, now you pretty much just wasted that, right? Now, you drafting a young quarterback, bring him in. He's the future. He's young. Build around him. Let him learn. I'm not a coach. none of that. But for me, looking on the outside, it's like we got to build the future. We got to look for the future, right? So you learn by being in the game, right? It's going to be mistakes. You got to learn. Look at the Caleb Williams. Look at the Drake Mays. You know what I mean? Look at Bo Nix. All these guys, right? They went in and changed it around, right? Now, you got some quarterbacks that come in and they draft and they sit maybe 1-2 years behind somebody, but then look when they come in, right? By that time, you could already build that potential with that guy. And for instance, say, week 4, something happens, Cousins hurt his shoulder, right? He's been hurt before, and then all of a sudden you throw in Fernando, right? So now you got this whole thing, it's all new. So now you're trying to adjust, right? Instead of adjusting every week, you know what I mean, and building, you're trying to just come in and throw a person. It worked, it worked with other quarterbacks, but I feel like, honestly, it's not going to work out with Kirk Cousins. I don't see him going the whole entire year. So I feel like, honestly, with me, I would say just keep him as QB2. If something does happen, he can learn the reads and whatnot, because obviously you need a vet there. But with Fernando Mendoza already working with Brian Greasy right now and implementing that offense, I feel like he's already going to have a little bit of a head start. And it's going to be a young team, right? It's a young team. Genty's young as well. Brock Bowers is still pretty much young. But you have some vets on the team, some older guys. But, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The coaching staff is mixed with some vets and also some, younger coaches and whatnot. But I feel like, honestly, if they do the Kirk Cousins thing, I don't think it's honestly going to work. Because, he's not... He's I would say mid, but he's mid-tier. He's not going to be a quarterback that's going to get you there. It could happen, but I honestly don't see it happening. I don't see him being the long-term answer for what the Raiders are trying to do, right? You're going young, bring in your quarterback, let him adjust, let him do what he got to do. If you win 6 games, then you go ahead and figure out what you need to figure out, right? You got your OC, you're going to work around him. You need to build that around him. Now, I know that, Kirk Cousins, work with, Kubiak, with the Vikings and whatnot, and they got a little bit of history, so he understands the offense. But I just think it's the same thing that we've already done. I'm looking at this scenario. I'm like, man, at Jimmy G, you know what I mean? Then Minshew, and then Geno. I feel it's the same type of thing that we've already been that's not working, right? So I hope that, we bring in Fernando Mendoza and go ahead and let him start. you know what I mean, and just see how it goes, because we already know AOC isn't the answer. So if something did happen, so I'm hoping that they just brought him in, not draft him. I hope they just brought him in just to be, you know, QB2, whatnot, because obviously if something does happen, we cannot give the wheels to AOC. Not gonna happen. He's gonna be pretty much gone after next year. But I feel like, honestly, with Kirk Cousins, I don't feel like, you know, with the division, we look at the division by itself, you know, just with, you know, Kansas City, you know, with the Chargers, with the Broncos, they're young, right? You know, Mahomes is the oldest quarterback. Well, it's going to be Cousins now, but he's the oldest one out of that younger group right there, and it takes time to develop. So I just feel like, honestly, man, that they may start him. I hope not. And I could be wrong. You know what I mean? I could be wrong about this whole thing, but I think personally, you know, you got Fernando Mendoza. He's your number one pick. You bring him in, figure out the kinks, let it work, and do what you got to do. But that's just my honest opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Who is going to be starting for the Raiders this year coming up, game 1? Let me know. Appreciate you guys, Raider Nation.